Imagine you are sitting in a quiet gathering centuries ago. A student is asking questions that many people would hesitate to ask, questions about identity, spiritual rank, transformation, and what happens to souls as they advance toward perfection. Today, I want to walk you through a fascinating dialogue found in chapter 54 of the manuscript Haft Shareef. As we explore it together, I'll pause occasionally and ask you what you think. You can reflect silently, discuss with others, or leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's begin. The dialogue opens with Al-Mufadal asking a direct question. He asks whether a believing man can return in the image of a believing woman. The answer is immediate and emphatic: no, by Allah. According to the speaker in this text, the believing man does not return in the image of a woman. Instead, the passage argues that spiritual progress moves upward rather than downward. The believing woman, if God wills her perfection, is said to be raised into the image of a believing man. This is presented not as a punishment or loss, but as an elevation to a higher spiritual station. The logic of the passage is based on a central principle: advancement always moves toward greater perfection. If spiritual growth is understood as continual advancement, what would moving upward mean to you? Would it mean wisdom, knowledge, purity, closer proximity to the divine? Take a moment to think about that. The speaker continues by explaining that God would not reduce someone from a rank they have already attained. In this worldview, every believer advances from one level to another. The believing man continues rising in excellence and honor. He ascends from degree to degree, from rank to rank, until he reaches what the text calls the rank of the specialized. Notice something important here. The focus is not merely on gender. The real theme is hierarchy of spiritual states. The discussion uses imagery of male and female forms, but the deeper argument centers on progression and elevation. The believer is portrayed as continually moving toward greater perfection. The text contrasts this with the fate of the disbeliever. Instead of ascending, the disbeliever is described as descending into increasingly degraded states. The imagery becomes severe. The passage speaks of degeneration into forms associated with disgrace, lowliness, and what people regard as ugly or beastly. Whether one interprets this literally, symbolically, or spiritually, the message is clear. Actions and beliefs have consequences. One path leads upward, another leads downward. Why do you think ancient religious texts often describe spiritual realities using images of ascent and descent? What makes the idea of climbing upward such a powerful symbol? Al-Mufadal then asks another question. If a believing woman is raised into the image of a believing man, can she later return to the image of a woman? Again, the answer is no. The speaker explains that once she has reached that elevated state, she remains in it. She does not move backward. She does not return to what is considered a lower station. Instead, she continues progressing from the level she has attained. The argument follows the same principle introduced earlier. True spiritual advancement does not reverse itself. A person who rises does not descend back into a lower degree. According to the text, such a reversal would contradict the very nature of perfection. This idea creates a picture of spiritual development as a one-way ascent. Every genuine achievement becomes a foundation for further growth. Interactive reflection. Think about your own life. Can you identify a moment when you learned something that permanently changed your perspective? Once you understood it, could you ever truly go back to the way you saw things before? At this point, it helps to step back and consider the broader message. The dialogue repeatedly emphasizes three themes. First, perfection. Second, advancement. Third, permanence. Perfection is something that souls move toward. Advancement occurs through successive degrees, and permanence means that genuine progress is not lost. The imagery of male and female forms serves as the language through which these ideas are expressed. The text presents the image of the believing man as representing a higher spiritual station. The believing woman is said to rise into that station. The believing man continues beyond it into even greater degrees of excellence. Whether a modern reader agrees with these assumptions or not, understanding the internal logic of the text helps us appreciate how its author envisioned spiritual transformation. The central concern is not biological identity. The concern is spiritual hierarchy and movement toward divine perfection. When reading ancient texts, do you think it is more important to agree with them or to understand how their authors viewed the world? Why? As the dialogue concludes, the speaker summarizes the principle one final time. The believing woman rises to the rank of believing men because that rank is presented as higher than her previous one. The believing man rises from degree to degree beyond his current station. Both are described as moving upward, neither is described as moving backward. The passage therefore presents spiritual life as a journey of continual ascent, a journey in which every step upward opens the possibility of another step beyond it, for readers today. The text raises enduring questions. What is perfection? Can spiritual growth continue without limit? What makes one state of being higher than another? And how should we understand symbolic language when it appears in religious literature? These are questions scholars, believers, and seekers have debated for centuries. Thank you for joining me in exploring this remarkable dialogue from chapter 54 of Haft al-Shareef. Before you go, I'd like to leave you with one final question. If spiritual growth is an endless ascent, what do you think the next step upward would look like for humanity as a whole? Take a moment to reflect, and I'll see you in the next discussion.